Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network.
It would seem that labyrinths are growing in popularity. We're talking labyrinths and a big conference coming to Parksville today on Go. On today's show, from pavement to paper, artist expression on the street, cracking down on distracted driving, and nightmares for Kim Rock. That and more in the next 30 minutes. We're here at the Labyrinth at the Bethlehem Retreat Center near Westwood Lake in Nanaimo today. There are 8,300 stones laid out here in a distance of about 2,000 feet. That's 0.61 of a kilometer to the center and then back out again. Later on this edition of Go Island, we're going to look into the healing characteristics of labyrinths and a huge conference that's coming to Canada, Parksville to be precise, for the first time in 15 years. But we're starting with another form of artistry, street chalk artists. Here's Jocelyn Matwee. The city of Nanaimo has proclaimed September 27th, 28th, and 29th as Culture Days, and the fine folks that we just met in Jocelyn's story will be a big part of that. For full details on all of the happenings, you can visit www.culturedays.ca. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4, and we're here in the Labyrinth at Bethlehem Retreat Center near Westwood Lake in Nanaimo. And Marianne is the director here, and I'm curious as to the role that this labyrinth plays in the happenings here at the retreat center.
Well, it plays a big role for many people who come. Actually, when people are asking about making a retreat here, many people ask us, do you have a labyrinth? There seems to be a big resurgence of interest in the labyrinth these days. And I think maybe it has something to do with the fact that we're more and more conscious of being on a journey in life. And that's what this labyrinth becomes. It's like an archetype. It's like an archetype for our journey. And people walk this labyrinth in many different ways. For some people, it's a prayer form. For other people, it's just a quiet time. And for other people, they have special things that they want to hold and with energy or with love or whatever it might be. So it's become a very important part of the retreat center here.
Mm-hmm. Can people come just any time and use it, or do you have to be staying here?
No, you don't have to be staying here. A lot of people from the city of Nanaimo use this labyrinth.
Mm-hmm.
And they usually just call and say, is it okay if we come? And that's always true.
Okay, so phone calls appreciated.
That's
to
right.
Just say you're coming by. And one of the, I think, allures for labyrinths is that it crosses cultures. It crosses religions. It crosses beliefs. It becomes what the individual needs and wants and makes it to be.
Absolutely true. And it's an ancient archetype. It goes back, many archaeologists believe it goes back until about 3,500 BC. And even the Labyrinth and Shark Cathedral, which is so famous today, was built in 1200. Mm-hmm. So it's very ancient. And it sort of touches into the deep wisdom inside of all of us in some way or another. And it's an expression of that.
Excellent, Marianne, thank you.
Thank you very much, Kate.
We are all over the map today. Next up, it's that time of year again. School is back in. Students and families on the streets making their way to school. So ICBC and the RCMP are ramping up their lookout for distracted drivers. Here's Melissa Hall now with some information, some tips, and what the punishment is for distracted driving. Still to come today on Go Island, assisted living independently on Salt Spring. Alice Cooper brings the nightmare to life, and inside a 1931 Ford Hot Rod. That's still ahead today on Go. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4, and today we are taking a quick look into the mystique and the power of labyrinths. There is a conference coming up, a big conference in Parksville, September 19th to the 22nd. We'll give you more details on that later in this edition of Go Island. But first, Judy Malcolm is the assistant director here at the Bethlehem Retreat Center, and you guys have a role to play in the conference that's coming up. What's going to be happening on September 19th?
We're going to be hosting a pre-event for the conference here at Bethlehem Retreat Center. So there'll be a group of about 40 people coming. They'll be starting at Fairview School, which is just completed a new labyrinth there.
Okay.
And then they will be walking the labyrinth there, coming here for a workshop on the labyrinth and the double axe.
I don't know what that is, the double axe.
The double axe is a form of energy and power that is often used in ancient times. And if you look closely at the path around the exterior of our labyrinth here, there are concrete double axes throughout. So you can have a look at that. And then the people will be staying here for lunch, and then they will be going back to Nanaimo, which is where the main conference is, for the onset of the remainder of the workshops.
Okay, and we're going to give you more details on that conference that is coming up at Nanaimo later this month. Do you notice, Judy, a growing interest in labyrinths? It seems to me that they're sort of popping up maybe more into the mainstream in recent months and years.
Yes, I think so. Hospitals are having labyrinths often. There's one at the Royal Jubilee Hospital in Victoria. There's one at the Port Alberni Hospital. I think there's many more that I probably just am not aware of. But they're used as a form of healing. And so when people are grieving or they're struggling, the labyrinth is a real source of power for that. They're used in prisons, and now they're used in schools. They're becoming more popular in schools as well.
Judy, thank you.
Thank you.
Labyrinths can be used to for inner reflection as you face your later years, and that's kind of the topic of our next story. James Green is on Salt Spring Island, looking at how seniors have chosen to live with assistance, yet at the same time independently. From assisted yet independent living to some classic rock and roll, I do remember my first and only Alice Cooper concert. Kim Rock is actually having some nightmares about it. You are watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. Our conversations around labyrinths today culminates, quite conveniently, in a big conference coming up in Parksville. It runs September 16th to the 22nd. That's all I'm going to say about it. Carol Matthews is one of the keynote speakers there. What's happening in Parksville around labyrinths?
Well, I think it's a very exciting time for people who are interested in labyrinths because it's the first time this conference has been held in Canada. It's the 15th annual conference of the Labyrinth Society. It's the annual gathering, we call it, and the Society is an international organization. People come from all over, and the gatherings are always quite an exciting mixture of people whose interests in labyrinths really vary. There are people who are historians, archaeologists, photographers, artists, healers, therapists, all sorts of different ways of being interested in the labyrinths, and there are workshops and opportunities to mix with other labyrinth lovers. I'm one of the keynote speakers, and I'm speaking about the labyrinth as a metaphor for healing and transformation. And the second, much more well-known person is Dr. Jean Shinoda Bolen. Jean Shinoda Bolen is an internationally known writer, Jungian analyst based in New York, who's written, easily a dozen books that have been very popular. The Goddess in Every Woman, The Goddess in Every Man. More recently, the tree-loving love of a tree or something is to do with the metaphor of trees and the planet, saving the planet. Very interesting speaker, lots of different workshops. So it's going to be exciting. There's also pre and post trips. The time in Nanaimo is the 19th to the 21st, but people are starting in Victoria and doing what you might call pilgrimages, I guess, up island, stopping at the many labyrinths on the way up, coming here to Bethlehem, and then after the labyrinth, they're going up to the northern part of the island, and I think to Port Alberni, to see again some interesting labyrinths, indoors and outdoors.
What an incredible gathering.
It's an incredible
How many
gathering.
people do you think will be coming?
Well, there's usually a couple of hundred. There may be fewer this time because of it being in Canada. It may be that not so many people make the trip because a lot of the members are American. But there'll be a good turnout, a really
And
good turnout.
no coincidence on the date either, coinciding with solstice.
Well, what they've done is try to arrange a time when there's a low tide and a full moon, so there can be labyrinth walks on the beach at Nanaimo, which are wonderful because they're impermanent, which also has a message of its own, which is kind of interesting. The labyrinths are drawn, people walk them, then they're gone.
Okay, if you want to find out more about the meanings behind the various forms of labyrinth, you can consider attending the conference. You can get full details on their website. We are switching gears entirely now. We're going to throw things over to Rayanne LaPlante. It's calendar cars. We're taking a ride in a 1931 Ford Hot Rod that Jack Taylor has called his baby for many years. That brings us to the end of this edition of Go Island. A final note that the Labyrinth Society's 15th annual gathering takes place at Nanaimo, September 19th to the 22nd. The title, the theme for this year, the first time the group has gathered in Canada, is Labyrinths for Global Healing, Landscapes for the Soul. For more information, you can visit the Society's website. Thank you so much for watching Go Island. If you'd like us to visit your event or location because, well, you've got something interesting going on that you think others should know about, you can send me an email, kate.bergen@sjrb.ca. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network. Clothing supplied by Catwalk Fashions. Kate's Hair and Aesthetics provided by Maffeo Salon.